Hey my YouTube friends, it's another year Samsung has shipped their flagship smartphone, and this year is the Galaxy S25 series. To be honest, I was not sure if I should upgrade to the Galaxy S25 from my Galaxy S24. I'm holding the normal Galaxy S25 and Galaxy S24. There are not so many changes in terms of the appearance of the two phones, the outside of these two phones, except for a few minor changes. So I wasn't sure if it's worth it to upgrade to the latest Galaxy S25. However, there are a few upgrades in the Galaxy S25 this year that are really appealing to me. And if you're someone who's not decided if you should upgrade from the Galaxy S24 to the Galaxy S25, don't miss this video. You'll find the answer for yourself. So each year I opted for the normal, the smallest form factor S series. It's the S25 this year. The portability and the lightweight of the smaller form factor is always my preferable. A few years ago, when the Galaxy S20 came out, it equipped it with 12 GB of RAM. Well, unfortunately, the year after, when they announced S21, they actually cut the RAM all the way down to 8 GB of RAM, and they only keep the 12 GB RAM for the Ultra series of the Galaxy S. And this year, there are 3 improvements to the Galaxy S25 that I'm really looking forward into. The first one is, as I just mentioned, the RAM size. I really think the S series flagship phone could use the extra 4 to 8 GB of RAM. Running Android, they can leverage as much RAM as possible, in my opinion. And I do feel significant differences between a 8 GB of RAM or 12 or 16 GB of RAM. That's the first thing that's really appealing to me for the S25 this year. Even the standard, the smallest form factor, the S25, the RAM size has upgraded to 12 GB. And the second thing is, of course, the CPU upgrade. It has upgraded from Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 to Snapdragon 8 Elite. Of course, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is pretty capable. It's a very fast CPU. However, I've been using the Microsoft Surface Laptop 7 for a little while. And this one actually is equipped with the ARM chip, the Snapdragon X Elite or X Plus. These are really, really good, efficient chips that has very good performance on Windows on ARMs. Also, very, very good battery lives. So I was looking forward to the CPU upgrade, and hopefully that can make the Android experience on the Galaxy phones even snappier and even more responsive. And the third thing is battery life. I know there's no battery capacity upgrade from the Galaxy S24 to S25. However, because of the chip efficiency increasement, I'd expect some battery life improvement as well. After using the Galaxy S24 for some time, it's really hard to get me through the whole day workload in my use scenario. And I often have to charge the phone during the day. My iPhone's battery lasts significantly longer than the Galaxy S24. And this time I'm gonna test this out to see if the Galaxy S25 battery can last for a day for my whole day use. So in the next 7 days, I'll be exclusively using Galaxy S25 as my daily driver to see if this year the S25 actually worth the upgrade from S24. I'll see you guys in 7 days. Alright guys, coming back from exclusively using the S25 for 7 days, I'm happy and I'm glad to let you know the conclusion first. I'm very happy I made the upgrade. It's so worth the upgrade. First thing, the Snapdragon 8 Elite is killing it. The CPU is really efficient and it's really, really fast. I can feel it's significantly snappier than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. And I think the 12 GB of RAM also contribute to the snappiness and responsiveness of this phone. I can feel a day and night differences between switching between a lot of apps, running apps from the backend. There is not a single time I feel that this phone is laggy, and when I switch between my work Messenger like the Teams and Outlook and my message app like Messengers and WeChat, there's no delay or no laggy at all. Unlike the S24, sometimes I do feel the phone struggle a little bit when switching between apps. I think most probably because the lacking of bigger RAM. But this year, the 12 GB of RAM really makes a difference, and the chip, the CPU is very efficient. The loading speed of the apps, the running speed of the apps, the web browser loading speed, those are all fantastic, and I can personally feel a difference between this one and the one last year. The second thing I want to mention, the haptic engine of Galaxy S25 this year. So when you tap the phone, when you input something with the keyboard, you do feel the haptic tech from the haptic engine. So Each year, Samsung claimed that they have a like improved haptic engine, and I do hear from some reviewers that the haptic engine is like very close or even as good as that in the iPhones, but never had felt that way because I always feel that iPhone's haptic engine is slightly better than Samsung's flagship, the S series. But this year, I can honestly say the haptic engine in the S25 is equally, if not even better than the iPhone haptic engine. When you type on the keyboard, when you like touch on the screen, the responsive from the haptic engine is really great. It's so close to iPhones. I don't see any differences this year now, and I hope Samsung keeps up its game, and from this year on, the haptic engine stays on the highest level among all the cell phones. And because the chip is so efficient and because it has enough RAM to do the works I need to do on this phone, this year the battery life is really good. Even though the battery capacity between the two phones remain the same, I do feel a very different battery life. And this new phone, it can perfectly last my whole day workload. Now I have no problem of using this phone for a whole day without charging it. And one thing I feel the differences is the idle or standby battery consumption is significantly lower this year than the S24 last year. I'm not sure if it's an Android system thing or a One UI 7.7 thing compared to an older version One UI and older version Android system. But I do feel that when the phone is in standby, or like you just to put this aside, and like the next day, when you wake up the next day, the battery consumption during the night is very minimal and much smaller than the one in last year. The next thing I want to talk about a little bit about personal profile and work profile. I know not many viewers talk about the like corporation use of this phone. So a work profile is when you work for a big corporation, and if you say, okay, this phone I want to access my like work related information, your corporation or your company often like enroll some security measures to your phone. Samsung or Android, the solution for the corporation use is that it creates a work profile. And under this profile, they install some corporation apps or company apps. These apps are like running under this work profile. They're isolated. They're like separated from your personal applications. They do not have access to your personal photos or information. Well, these apps and the information under the work profile is monitored by your company. With iPhone, you do not have a concept of like work profile or your iPhone's data. Once you like enroll the company management portal or something like that, all those data, the company has access to them and is monitoring each and every of your operations on that phone. While for Android phones like Galaxy S25, you're able to create a work profile, and your company's management or the IT department, they can only access your data under work profile, and you have to use the apps under work profile to access your company's, say, emails and team messenger or messages. Let me know if you think that's a good thing, the Samsung or Android way of like managing your data that kind of like isolate your personal information from company managed information. Do you think it's a good idea, or do you prefer the iPhone way that it just has one app that can access all the data, or the drawback is that your company has to monitor your personal data? Another thing I want to say is over the years, I think Samsung did a great job on One UI. In the early days, the Samsung skin on top of Android stock system is really not that good. It's slowing the whole system down, and it doesn't even look quite polished. Since they introduced the One UI, they're really introducing the simplified and more intuitive and clean skins top of Android, to the point I think One UI 7, maybe One UI 6 as well, is the best Android system aside from the stock Android system. For me personally, I would prefer the One UI over the stock Android because it offers you so much like additional features. I like the clean look, and I like that you can customize a lot of things that stock Android cannot. So yeah, so far I'm really happy about the upgrade. I think Galaxy S25 is a significant step forward to S24. Even though there are very little changes on the outside of the two phones, I think the inside of the phone is what worth the upgrade this year.